In the part 1 video on proportion, we learned using a real world example, we learned that what do we mean by proportion and why is it important for us. In this part 2 video, we are going to take another real world example to understand what do we mean by proportion. Okay, so this is another video on proportion only. These are red balls and the total count of these balls are 30. So the total count of these balls, the total count is 30. And the price that has to be paid for these balls is rupees 200. So the shopkeeper tells, there are two persons, A and B, tells them that you both need to pay, amount rupees 200. Combined amount should be 200. So A says that, okay, I'm ready to pay rupees 120, and B says that, okay, then I'll pay the remaining amount, that is rupees 80. They take these balls, they come back home, and then they decide to distribute or divide these balls between them. B tells to A that since we have total 30 balls and we are 2 people, therefore this should be divided like this, 30 divided by 2, and each should get 15 balls. So you should get 15 balls, you should get 15 balls, and I should get 15 balls. But after some time A says that, hey, that's not fair. B asks why. A says that since I have paid more amount than you, therefore I should get greater number of balls, or the greater portion of these balls should go to me. So B says that, yeah, that's actually correct. Then how should we do that? So A tells that, you know what? Actually, according to me, I should get 18 balls and you should get 12 balls. So B asks that, can you explain that how have you come to this point of distribution? So A says that, okay, what is the ratio of these distribution of balls? That is, balls that has been given to me, that is balls given to A, and the balls that B has. So that will be 18 to 12. And if you have to simplify this, then what will be the highest common factor? The highest common factor will be 6. So this will be 3 to 2. That is 3:2. B says that, okay, if this is the ratio, then what does it tell? So A says that, okay, if according to me, this is the distribution of balls and the ratio that we get is 3:2. Now let's find out the ratio, that is the amount paid by us, the ratio of the amount paid by us. So amount paid by me, that is amount paid by A, to the amount paid by you, that is B. And why we are taking A to B? Because here also the ratio of balls is in A to B, not in B to A. Had it been balls B to balls A, then we'll have taken amount B to amount A. So A tells that, what's the ratio of this? So this will be 120 to 80. Now, if you have to solve this, how will you do this? The highest common factor of 120 and 80 will be what? It will be 40. And if you simplify it, then you will get 3 to 2. That is 3:2. So the ratio in which ball has been divided is 3:2, and the ratio in which amount was paid by A and B is again 3:2. What does that tell us? That this distribution of 18 to 12 is actually in proportion to this 120 to 80. These are the simplified form of 18 to 12 and 120 to 80. It means that 120 to 80 that is the ratio of amount paid by them, right, is equal to this ratio, that is in which the balls were distributed, that is 18 to 12. Because if 18 to 12 is simplified, you will get 3:2, and when 120 to 80 is simplified, you get 3:2. Both these two ratios are equal. And since these two ratios are actually equal, therefore we can say that these two ratios are actually equal, right? And therefore we'll say that 120 ratio 80 is in proportion, this is the proportion symbol, to 18 ratio 12. This is the ratio. And since this is in proportion, because these two ratios are equal, let us term all these terms in which have been written in form of proportion, that is 120, 80, 18 and 12. These are called respective terms. Respective terms. And 120 and 12 will be called extreme terms. And 80 and 18 will be called middle terms. And this symbol is of proportion. And why is it in proportion? Because these two ratios are equal. And why we required to find out these two different ratios? Just to tell that the ratio in which the amount was paid by A and B, using same ratio you have to divide this ball also. Therefore if 120 was paid by A and 80 was paid by B, then the distribution of these balls cannot be like this, because A has paid more and B has paid less. Therefore A should get more balls than B. And when A tells that according to my conclusion, I should get 18 balls and you should get 12 balls, and the reason is, if we try to find out the ratio of the balls distributed, that will be 3:2. And then if you find out the ratio of amount paid by us, that will again come as 3:2. So 3:2 is equal to 3:2. That is, these two ratios are actually in proportion. They are equal. Therefore, our distribution of balls that we have done now is correct, is perfect.